What sort of scenes have the independent retailers been experiencing since the lockdown was announced?
Well, good morning, Danica. We're certainly seeing panic buying happening throughout all of our stores here in South Australia. This is unprecedented. It's not like we've seen in the first wave. I don't call this the second wave. I don't think anyone is calling it the second wave. However, we are definitely seeing panic buying. Some of it is quite orderly, actually, but some of it is not to be tolerated. The behaviour out there with some of the customers is ridiculous. It's quite moronic, actually, in some areas where people are just hoarding, blue paper again. We still don't understand what that phenomenon is all about. But we're seeing some shelves being completely stripped, within a couple of minutes in some cases. But certainly within a couple of hours, it's all gone. Just to let South Australians know, we have adequate supply here, for the next, I keep on saying the next 1,000 years. We've got a great food and grocery sector here in South Australia. And this is a state issue. It's not a national issue as well. Supply is not threatened at all. It's just a case of allowing us time to replenish our stocks and to also maintain the safety of everyone, including our staff, including our owners, and everyone to get on with business over this 6-day hard lockdown period. We're just calling on the public to stop it. It doesn't need to happen. It actually is very un-South Australian. In fact, yesterday I was very embarrassed to be a South Australian because there were people that were making this panic buying worse. And I've got to say, they weren't South Australians as far as I'm concerned, nor were they Australians.
Colin, you mentioned the behaviour of some of the shoppers. What do you mean by that? Have you seen some aggressive behaviour also taking place?
Look, we have. We've just seen people with a bit of an attitude towards this whole area, saying, well, I've got to be put through this again, and, having a go at our staff, either verbally, and, our staff have to take that. They're front line. They're essential workers. The government's not going to allow any South Australian staff. Essential workers, as far as supermarkets are concerned, we will always be open and there is adequate supply. So some of these behaviours are totally unnecessary, and people going into regional towns from outside the regional town yesterday was a total disgrace. It's disgraceful doing that. And we're just calling on South Australia just to calm down. Take a chill pill.
Are there any restrictions currently on any goods in any of these supermarkets?
Yes, well, look, as far as the independents are concerned, we're our individual business owners, and we are putting limitations where we need to as we run with this. I'm expecting that these restrictions of, limiting people to, one toilet roll per person is going to subside over the next couple of days. I'm also expecting that, restrictions like this of one person, which the government has now put on, that it is one person per household per day. If we get on top of this really, really quickly and really well, I can see that restriction will be eventually lifted. But I can also see the restriction of wearing face masks. I think that will become mandatory for some time here in South Australia until we clean this all up. Look, we're happy to work with as best we can with the government on this particular area and, do the best thing we can by our staff and by keeping South Australians safe.
Colin, you said that there are enough supplies to go around. We're seeing, these shops are bare. We're just seeing the pictures at the moment. Shops are bare, people flooding the supermarket shelves. When can we expect more supplies on the shelves? Because at the moment, they're looking pretty bare. Well,
I can say this unequivocally, that there are supplies now being loaded onto trucks here in South Australia and moving to supermarkets. It's happening continually. So expectations of people, when is it going to be ready? What we've got to do is allow time for people to, and for our staff and for our owners to replenish the stores and replenish the shelves. We need time for that. In fact, we will need to close stores to have time for that and sanitise the stores as well. This is about social distancing. Yes, it is. But it's also about stopping the movement of people around the state. That's why we've got the 6 hard-day lockup. And that's very clear on the medical advice where we're going on this. However, what we are saying is that this won't happen in history. When it first happened, it was about 8 days. When Melbourne went to full lockdown, in South Australia, we had a half a day of it, which was pretty short-lived. We believe this will be very short-lived and it will be back to normal within a week or two.